Hello and welcome to Eden Live, where I am reading all of Eden by FREI live on Facebook and on YouTube, with the recorded clips making their way onto Instagram, IGTV. If, as has happened several times now, the picture quality that you're getting on the web stream, not on the recordings on Instagram are always the same, they're always fine. But if the web stream is once again extremely pixelated, barely viewable, I think we now know what the problem is. I thought it was had something to do inherently with the software, but I don't think it is. I think it's a hardware issue, and I think it's simply the fact that it's too hot for these laptops. They're not cooling down, so they're slowing down to slow down the chip. But there is a solution to this. On the one hand, you find these same readings on my Instagram account, Sebastian Michael, Instagram. And newly now, there is also a podcast. So if you prefer listening to having to watch videos or reading, you can now actually listen to the whole of Eden by FREI as a podcast on Anchor FM. That's anchor.fm, and then the actual address is so it goes anchor.fm/Eden-by-FREI, F-R-E-I, which is essentially Spotify. Presumably, if you search Eden by FREI on Spotify, you will find this and me. But the podcast started at the very beginning about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's catching up because it happens more or less every day, 4 times a week, whereas the webcast only happens twice a week. So there will come a point when the podcast will be lined with and then overtake the webcast. But I thought I'd give you this bit of insider info in case you're sitting there in front of your screen thinking, why can't I see properly, when this is meant to be contemporary technology at its best. It clearly isn't. But be that as it may, the most important thing is that we're here and that you can hear me. And we are really actually quite far into Eden by FREI. By now we are into volume 9 out of 12. Volume 9 being called Encounters. It is about encounters, about real life encounters. And this chapter here, this short chapter near the beginning of Encounters is called My Science Communicator Friend Takes Me Right Back to when everything was different and new and a little bit daunting, but also, obviously, exciting. He is up for things. He's up for seeing some local art on the spur of the moment. He's up for hearing Chiba. He's even up for a book launch next Tuesday, though that is now unlikely to happen, as he seems to have mistaken Thursday for Tuesday and realised he needs Tuesday to cram for a deadline Wednesday morning. Either that, or whatever this could become, has got stuck in its tracks now and shuddered to a sudden, but not in its entirety, incomprehensible halt. When I say whatever this could become, I should first of all quickly check back with the reality I'm currently vaguely familiar with. The last time we saw each other, there was a moment that went like this. We've arrived at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, and the place is as yet fairly empty, with only a couple of dozen people or so huddling near the very front by the stage. So we are able to get ourselves a couple of drinks and leisurely hang about the part of the stalls that will soon fill up with gig-goers, standing. I don't remember what prompts the question, but it comes mid-conversation, as an aside almost, or a sub-clause, certainly not a big deal, when he asks me how old I think he is. It's a question in parentheses, a by-the-way kind of question that may or may not have slipped into another, much more pertinent topic of conversation. And I say, well, putting together the information I have, I think you're probably a bit younger than you look, bearing in mind I originally thought he looked comfortable in his very early 30s, so I'd say possibly mid towards late 20s, about 27? Yes. I am 22. In view of this, any notion of whatever this could become acquires its very own peculiar kind of perspective. It takes me right back, all of this, to when things were new and a little bewildering, but also mostly handled with aplomb. There was a period, I'm not sure where it started, where it ended, or if not ended, was left dangling, suspended, when we faced each day with a healthy nonchalance. For me, it wasn't my 20s. I went through my 20s with extreme caution and then at times crippling level of self-deprecation. But even then, a tingling sense of thrill that anything at all might happen, even if very little happened, or nothing at all. I completely lost my thread. I'm taken back in my memory. I'm going to read that sentence for you again. I went through my 20s with an extreme caution and then at times crippling level of self-deprecation. But even then, a tingling sense of thrill that anything at all might happen, even if very little happened or nothing at all, was more or less always there. It was there now, with my very young science communicator friend, who had agreed to see me again, but then cancelled, but then, yay, agreed to and did see me again. And what happened next is, of course, part of another chapter in Encounters. So if you want to know, you may just have to join me again when we continue with Encounters. I can tell you now, the next chapter is not about that. There's something else that happens first. But it will pop up again. So until then, I do this, as you may know or may not know, on a twice weekly basis, on Monday and Wednesday. Today being Wednesday, the next one goes out on Monday. You may find this at some other point, at some other time, in some other context, on a different day of the week in your life. But wherever and whenever that may be the case, I hope you will join me again for the next episode in Eden Live. And until then, take good care, love and let love, and see you very soon.